What's up, guys? It is almost 1 in the afternoon here on Friday, and this morning I addressed a report. It was like close to 6:30 in the morning. I was a little tired, so please forgive me as I sound a little bit groggy, and I may have worded things a little bit differently than I should have. But anyways, um, the report was coming from an athlete of mine who just came off a very successful prep. It was his very first prep. He just absolutely killed it. He had great conditioning coming into the shows, maintained fullness, just nailed his prep. He did everything like you're supposed to. And now that the shows are over, having a little bit trouble trying to reverse diet, eating a little bit too much, and not really following the protocol as planned. So I wanted to just kind of share this video with a lot of you because I know, personally myself, I've gone through trying to reverse diet and had my miscues, and I'm sure there's so many others out there that are probably experiencing the same thing, or they're coming off of shows now that maybe they need a little bit of insight. So I thought maybe this just might help at least one person. Of course, you guys know, if you've watched my other videos, my goal is always to try to help at least one person through my experiences. So I thought I would share this again. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great weekend, and that is trying to reverse diet coming out of a bodybuilding show. And it's a lot harder than the actual prep itself. When you're prepping for a show, there's a goal. There's a goal you're shooting for, and because of that goal, it's much easier to stay focused. It's much easier to stay on point. But once you take away that goal, it's like you're taking away something you're shooting for and striving for, then it becomes much harder to kind of stray off of the path that you're on. So just dealing with my experience coming off of my 2011 season after the Yorton Cup, um, I basically, after the show was over, I let loose. Actually went out to lunch with my dad and my best friend. Had a good meal, but it was the next day where Alberto and I and we enjoyed some pretty good baked goods from this crazy Amish bakery that basically was throwing lard in their baking goods. That's how rich these foods were. Um, but I didn't feel guilty about it. I felt okay with it. I mean, I had dieted for 47 weeks, busted my ass for 47 weeks, and I was like, okay, I'm going to actually enjoy this and not let it get to me and not feel depressed about it, but let myself know, hey, it's okay to finally enjoy and celebrate what I had just accomplished. And also the next day, we actually, Berto and I and Melissa, his girl, we walked, I would say, I want to say 2 miles to Five Guys, the burger joint. It was like 2 miles in the cold in there in Washington. Well, actually, it was in Laurel, Maryland. It was probably, I want to say, in the high 20s, low 30s that day, that night. It was freezing cold. We walked 2 miles to go get that burger. Um, we enjoyed it when we were there. Then we walked back, and it was probably colder when we walked back, and we're kind of laughing about it, saying, was that really worth it? And hell yeah, it was worth it. I mean, it tasted good. It was a great way to celebrate the last 47 weeks I dieted, and I don't know how many weeks Berto dieted. I can't recall, but we both made it to our goal, and that was the Orton Cup. So why uh, beat ourselves up because we celebrated what we had just accomplished? So um, I'm not saying, for everybody to just go out and indulge and pig out and binge and go crazy on foods after your show, but if it's your last show of the season and it's okay to go out and celebrate with a nice meal or two. Um, for all that hard work you just did. I mean, you restricted yourself on dieting, you did all that cardio, all that hard work. Why not enjoy yourself at least a day or two? And then after that, I tried to get back on point, and I did pretty well. But the first week it was kind of not a success. I knew once I got back home from the Orton Cup, I was home alone, and I knew that my mindset wasn't all there anymore as far as being in prep mode and being on point with everything. I really wanted to reverse diet. That was the thing, but it just wasn't going to happen, and I knew that. So instead of trying to fight, saying the way I was feeling was a bad thing, I embraced it, and I said, okay, I'm going to allow myself to take this week to kind of let off the gas a little bit. Not overindulge, but kind of indulge just a little bit here and there. Kept things moderate. And basically, the first week I let myself gain, I think it was anywhere from 7 to 9 pounds. So I got 7 to 9 pounds back on. And then after that, instead of putting myself on trying to be perfect with my macros, I gave myself a range instead, and I don't remember what my exact numbers were at the time. I'd have to go back and look up my notes, but just for this example, I'll just throw out numbers. So, instead of being perfect fats, let's say my fats were 40, 250 carbs, 200 protein, I would give myself a range of like 40 to 55 fats. I would give myself 250 to 300 carbs, and then I would do 200 to 225 protein. That way there's more of a buffer in there. There's more of a range to hit and not have to be so perfect. And then I think I was doing like once a week. I was like having a meal where I really wasn't tracking it, not overindulging like a whole large pizza, but if I wanted a couple slices of pizza, I would eat it, and then I would just get back on numbers the following day. So that worked for a while there. I was able to follow that, and I think the thing is I really embraced the fact that perfect reverse dieting was not going to work for me. So I came up with a better solution, and that was reverse dieting on ranges as opposed to being so precise. And I think that will work for a lot of people. And I've actually had some of my athletes reversing on ranges when they're coming off of shows, and it seems to be a little bit more less stress, I should say. And so I think that's one solution a lot of people could probably benefit from is if if you don't have that killer instinct, that mindset of like, okay, if you know you can follow things perfectly, then reverse dieting on perfect macros would work. If you know you just don't have that in you to continue on past a bodybuilding show and keep reverse dieting for a few months afterwards, maybe going to ranges is probably a better solution. That way there's still some structure in place and you're able to hit that. But I know for me, and probably for a lot of other people, it's just the fact of embracing that you're not perfect, you're human, you're going to make mistakes, and to understand it, realize it, and then forgive yourself for the miscues, and be okay with that, but continue to take a step forward, keep pushing forward and getting back on structure. Not, I think where it goes wrong is people, they maybe eat too much than they should. They feel guilty about it, because I know I've been there myself. I've done it, and then that guilt, it just gets you depressed. So instead of getting back on structure, it's like, screw it. I jacked up. So let's just continue to eat. Who cares? And then that just keeps a vicious cycle going, and you feel worse and worse and worse. So I think just being okay with that, and uh, being okay with your miscues, forgiving yourself, get back on the horse, keep riding, and keep pressing forward. That's probably the best thing you can do. And so another kind of thing is you have to realize is when you're coming off a bodybuilding show, you're like at your best ever. That's, I mean, you're looking your best. If you came in your best ever and you're shredded and you're looking just completely nasty in a good way, it's hard to let go of that when you're coming off a show. You can't expect to be at your very best every single day afterwards. It's very hard to hold shredded condition, and then it's just a kind of a depressing thing when you look in the mirror and you see, you're starting to uh, slowly get a little bit heavier as far as body weight. The muscle definition is slowly dissipating, and it just messes with your mind like, this is depressing, I'm not looking that good anymore. So what do you do about that? I mean, you have to understand that that's going to happen. And the best thing I did coming off my 2011 season was right away I told myself, okay, I'm not going to look like I just did at the Oregon Cup. I'm going to start sliding a little bit, but I was okay with it. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this. So instead of shifting my goal towards looking shredded, okay, getting, because that's the goal of contest prep, is to get shredded, get lean, keep your muscles full, to get in shape for a bodybuilding show. So my turned my focus, instead of that, was now my focus is on performance in the gym. Okay, now I'm going to put my focus on that. Okay, improving my lifts in the gym, improving for my off season, and just getting my performance up. And I know in order to get my performance up, I'm going to have to eat a little bit more, get, every week be in a little bit more of a surplus, and that's going to help performance. So that's how I started to get okay with, because once I started seeing my lifts go up, then I was okay with, okay, my abs aren't as visible as they used to be. They're still there, but they're not, super shredded. I don't have the striations in my triceps anymore, but um, I'm bench pressing more now. So there's a trade-off for it, but it's a good trade-off because as you get deeper and deeper into off season and away from your last shows, you start to really put your focus on your next season, and but making improvements for the next season happens in the off season. That's where the work is done for as far as attaining more muscle for your next shows. So that's kind of what I do personally, and I try to coach my athletes in doing, is uh, shifting the focus, starting to slowly shift the focus away from the past as far as their last shows and moving them towards their next shows, with the reverse dieting. And that's reverse dieting on ranges a lot of the times, having them focus on performance in the gym and letting them know it's okay, that they're starting to lose a little bit of their conditioning, but there's a nice trade-off in that. In fact, is strength starts to go up, performance is up, energy levels are going up, and overall mentally they're starting to feel better because they're not in such a deprived state like they used to be when they're prepping. So that's kind of what I wanted to share, is just that reverse dieting is definitely a bitch. It's much harder than contest prep dieting, and that's because that goal is gone. But you have to make the new goals once you come off that show. But don't forget to enjoy that success you had, and it's okay to have that 1 or 2 days where you kind of enjoy some good foods. But the thing is to get back on a structure as soon as you can, and then kind of stick with a structure. If you're mentally capable of reversing perfectly on perfect macros, then great. If you know you're not, accept it, be okay with it, and realize, hey, let's get you on a macro range. So that's kind of my take as far as having that post contest experience, as far as that feeling of, oh crap, I just binged a couple days, now I feel like crap, I'm starting to look like crap, how do I get out of this funk, and then ways to move past it. So anyway, that's about it as far as that. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.